In this episode, we will review two groups who have implemented strategies in order to defeat the child support program. That is the sovereign citizen movement and the Moorish movement. Now, what led us to do this episode was while we were researching, our normal of finding ways and tricks and strategies to defeat child support, we came across this article from the IRS. It's a press release that says, a sovereign citizen was targeted by the United States government and is sentenced to 25 years in prison because this defendant owes the IRS more than $100 million in liens that were being forced upon by either the agency. We also noticed in the article, it says that this person, whose name is Pat, attempted to shift child support payments as well onto the IRS using what is called sovereign citizen or Moorish strategy. As you know, on this channel, we've said before that the Supreme Court says that child support agreements are equivalent to interstate contract and reject the idea that child support payments are anything but, and that is U.S. versus Sage out of Second Circuit. So while we were researching tips and strategies, we came across, again, the sovereign citizen and the Moorish movement, and we decided to look into this particular charge of the sentencing to this person. Hello, my name is Chris, and on this channel, we review the child support program as well as how it comes into conflict with your rights. We also review tips and strategies for you to escape the program. At the end of this video, we have a section called Call to Action. That is, we review the topic that's covered, and then we give you our opinion or strategy on how you can use this to escape the child support program. Let's start off with the definition for sovereign citizen movement. Again, I do not know much about this topic, so I decided to start off with, let's go into Wikipedia to determine and define the group. It starts off with, many members of this group believe that the United States government is an illegitimate government. This particular group, which is mostly in America, they are tax protesters, and they believe that only common law is the true law of the United States. Again, we took this from Wikipedia. Prior to this, I really did not have any opinion regarding the sovereign citizen or their strategies they use in the child support program. The next group we will look at is called the Moorish Science Temple of America, or the Moorish program. This particular group, you join their movement, as well as individuals proclaim their Moorish nationality, and they're given a nationality card, again, based on by Wikipedia definition. It was started by an American a person called Noble Drew Ali or Ally, and it's mostly African American based. That says the descendants of the Moabites, thus call themselves the Moorish, is where this starts. And they implement their rules and strategies in which to help you separate from the child support program. We found another story, and this is a more recent story. This is from the Department of Justice and the Attorney General's office. It's dated August 25th, 2020, just a short while ago. It says, a Lancaster County business owner was sentenced to 1 year in prison for filing false liens against the IRS and many government agencies. And to quote the article, it says, the person expounded a sovereign citizen ideology. That is, they're not subject to any contract without their agreement. They're not subject to any laws, as well as any liens on them is illegal, and they basically can shift those liens back to their enemy or, as we said, the government. So these are the two stories that we followed and decided to look into these strategies. Next, we found this decision by the courts. It's called John Jones Bay versus the state of Indiana, and that was decided February 3rd, 2017. So to quote Mr. John Jones Bay. Now, Bay is the name. If you're a Moorish or you subscribe to the Moorish origin, you tend to add the word Bay to the end of your name, or L, that is EL, the letter EL, to describe that you are part of this movement. So this is quote from the court case. It says Bay says he's a sovereign citizen and therefore can't lawfully be taxed by Indiana or its subdivision in the absence of a contract between them and him. The courts came back with they have heard these arguments before regarding sovereign citizen and Moorish origins, and they have decided it this way. They have repeatedly rejected the claim that this so-called group has the ability to implement the strategies of which they think is correct regarding contracts. In other words, shifting the liens as well as other methods. They cited case known as United States versus Johansson, as well as United States versus Benabe. But the most critical one that's used in the past that we found was United States versus Schneider. It's a very famous one. People have been using it for years. We decided to select this particular case because it's a more recent case, but it does reference United States versus Schneider. And basically what the district courts come back with is this. While they may recognize this movement, the strategies they're implementing is subject to their laws, and as a result, is subject to full prosecution. So the stories we found from both the Department of Justice and the IRS for anyone who's implementing this strategy is subject to full prosecution. So here we are at my opinion. I don't have an opinion on this strategy. I'm welcoming anyone who can share with us here what it means to use the Moorish or the sovereign citizen strategy in order to evade child support. And at the same time, please feel free to subscribe to our channel as well as hit the like button. We here at Child Support Made Simple, we understand that child support Title 4D is a problem, and there we're trying to seek solutions. There are many different solutions that can be implemented. Obviously, the sovereign citizens and the Moorish strategy is being used as well, but in addition to everything else. And the goal is this. Child support is one giant maze, and we're all trying to find a path where that light bulb moment that says, I am free from child support. So child support falls under the enforcement of child support falls under what is called 45 CFR Part 303, and there are about 110 parts within the 303, and it covers most of the enforcement procedures, such as your federal tax refund program, the state offset program, as well as income withholding and modification. So in order to understand child support, you need to study the 303 section. We call it a mini study guide. One of the strategies that we found is that you could use the 1099 IRS definition worker program to escape child support. We've done several videos on this, so we feel that this is a right strategy. And we have a video called Know Your Rights when implementing this. We've done several videos on this in the past. Next, this 1099 strategy, it doesn't come from me. Here in the Virginia Lawyers Weekly, dated January 29, 2020, they're celebrating the fact that that the state of Virginia is closing the loophole for the 1099 program for independent contractors in 1099. Also, the state of New Jersey, we did a video on that one that says they're also trying to do the same thing. So don't take my word for it. They, lawyers, here in their publication, their industry publication, is stating that this is a loophole in which they felt the need to close. Celebrities. Celebrities do not need to be in a child support program. As to how they're being entrapped in it, We haven't looked into it very closely, but we do know this, that child support is based on whether or not the child become what is called a ward of the state, meaning they start taking benefits. As far as I know, most celebrities, their children very seldom become, ward of the state or party to the state. So how are they trapped in the child support program? We believe that they can escape it. Next, mothers. Now, this is a little bit of a controversy. In our research, we discovered that women do not pay child support. Yep, we researched it. Women are not included in the statute for child support. Therefore, they shouldn't be paying child support. And you've heard us in the past talk about Blessing versus Freestone that says, by a Supreme Court case, that mothers and the child does not have a federal right to the Title 4D program. Therefore, how are mothers forced to pay child support? Of course, always we did a video on this that says the 5 lawsuits that can be used to escape the child support program as well as seek remedy, such as the Department of Motor Vehicles. You could also file a lawsuit against the quasi judges and fake judges, the police officer, the social worker, your employer as well. And again, you can preview several videos on our channel where we talked about these. So here we are at our call to action screen. The sovereign citizen movement, we didn't spend a lot of time researching it. What we more focused on was the risk and reward. And the 2 articles that we covered, both from the IRS as well as from the Department of Justice, are stating that they're actively and aggressively going after anyone who uses these 2 strategies. Now, whether the sentencing of the individuals were correct or they had proper defense or what they did was right or wrong, we're just here to say we're giving you the information that there is a risk level and there's a reward level for using those programs, and we're just asking you to be very careful. Again, know your rights. If you disagree with anything that we've covered in this story, or you'd like to give us feedback on it, again, we did not delve into specifically the strategies for the child support program using Sovereign Citizen or the Moors, but those strategies do exist. We also ask that you subscribe to this channel so that we could continue to provide more research of what we found, as well as we're asking for a donation. We ask for $25. However, we will take any amount. And what that will do is help us to bring you more stories and also, tell us what direction and if you want to separate from the child support program. So here we are at the end. There's several videos here on the screen that you could select. And thank you for tuning in to this episode. Have a good day.